Hey guys, good to see you all. I want to read this to you right now. It's in Genesis chapter 16, and we're going to start from verse 11. And behold, the Lord said to her, and this is referring to Hagar, behold, you are pregnant, and you shall bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has listened to your affliction. He shall be a wild donkey of a man, his hand against everyone, and everyone's hand against him. And he shall dwell over against all his kinsmen. And so I want you guys to know this. Ishmael's descendants, as we know, is the Arab people in the Middle East. We know them as these people. But also, from his descendants would come Islam. Which is interesting to notice this is that this is coming from the slave woman, which we know is of sin. It's of flesh. You know, Abraham should have never slept with Hagar, to be honest. And we would have not had Ishmael. But he should have been patient with the promise, Isaac, which is from the free woman, as we know in Galatians is mentioned. And so what's interesting to me is that in parallel to both of them, we know that God had promised something to Abram and Sarai, saying, I'm going to give you a son, even though in your old age. And so he did. Obviously, Ishmael was of human decision, and Isaac was God's promise. And we know from those two nations, they would have a conflict with each other. And we see this now over the land promise, over the issues of this world, and how constantly people seem to be growing in conflict with Israel and even joining sides with Islam, which out of all things is not the religion of peace, but is the original religion of death and destruction. And so I plead with you all to know that when you are following a religion that is of death, you're going to encourage what the devil has always wanted to do. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. It says it so clearly in the scriptures. We have to be so careful not to let these people come into our nation. We need to turn to Jesus so that we repent, so that we don't allow an invasion. Just so you know, an invasion is actually a spiritual judgment by God. And so we need to be careful that we are following and serving him and not following the American dream solely and doing all these things. We need to be serving Jesus and Jesus alone. And just keep this in mind as we keep this in mind with the descendants of Ishmael, that we need to be also bringing them to Christ. And there are people who are of Ishmael's descendants who've come to Christ. But we need to keep this in mind. Even the Jewish nation, even the Israelites need to come to Christ. And so it's something to keep in mind in the back of your mind when you're thinking about these nations. They need Christ, and we need to be a nation of Christ. And be careful that how we live our lives and how we serve him so that we ultimately glorify the one true God. Thank you all. God bless.